Nathan, I want to start with you because it's shocking just how quickly this bill was passed. I believe bills were introduced the same day, Tuesday, that the governor asked them to look into this?
Yes, this all happened extremely fast. Tuesday, by surprise, Governor DeSantis asked the legislator to look into this issue. That same day, bills were introduced in a special session of Congress. The Senate passed it on Wednesday, the House passed it on Thursday, and it was just signed today. So this has happened at whirlwind speed that I don't think we've ever seen before in Florida.
So, Chris, what exactly does this mean for Disney, and how is Disney reacting to this so far?
What it means is not entirely clear because it could be that this district still exists in some form going forward. The legislature could decide to kind of renew it in a different form next year. And so in that case, the impact may be minimal. Or the services may get put on, sewer and fire and all these things that Disney had been sort of paying for itself could go on to the county of Orange, and in that case, there would be disruption, sure, but probably nothing catastrophic. The company's been very quiet about this whole subject, not issuing any public statement whatsoever, which is unusual for them.
Nathan, what are the actual tax implications? If Governor DeSantis is saying Disney is going to pay more taxes, but there are concerns that some of the debts might fall back on taxpayers, can you unwind that for us?
I don't think anyone knows too many specifics yet, but there are a lot of questions. Bondholders want to know who's going to be responsible for paying back a lot of the debt. Property owners want to know if their taxes are going to increase. So this is a huge district. It involves a lot of municipal services. The district had also paid for, I think, the local sheriff in Orange County. So there are so many issues that need to be worked out. And of course, it all comes down to who's going to pay for what. So there are more questions right now that a lot of different people are going to be paying attention to this going forward.
Chris, obviously Disney has been in Florida for decades. I mean, could it come to them leaving the state, moving the parks out of the state?
Can't see that happening. Such a big business. I mean, 4 theme parks, 29,000 hotel rooms. A huge part of their profits globally come from Florida. No, I don't see that happening. But Disney's got to figure out some way to mitigate this war it's got going on with Ron DeSantis. I think they learned last month when they first spoke up about the schools bill, there's almost nothing they can say without angering, one side or the other, which is why they've been so quiet recently. But they've really got to work to get this past them so they can, continue to enjoy the money they've been making in Florida.
And on top of this, it's no secret, Governor DeSantis, probably wants to run for president in a couple of years. Nathan, could we see him taking, similar actions against other businesses?
Everyone is going to be watching that. This is all happening in a context where in Florida, we've seen a number of what they call culture war issues. There were new abortion restrictions. There was the bill on parental education rights in schools. We had this kind of confrontation with Disney. So these are issues that have been very popular with the DeSantis base voters, both in Florida and in the rest of the country. So this is definitely generating a lot of attention, and people are watching DeSantis both in Florida, but from a national perspective as well.
Now, Chris, of course, Bob Chapek, the CEO of Disney, initially said Disney wasn't going to push back on this law surrounding instruction about sexual orientation and gender identity in schools. Then there was huge pushback from employees across the company. Chapek did a 180, came out against this law. How is he faring internally at this point? He said he was going to go on a listening tour. He apologized. And now, of course, back in Florida, it's continuing to explode on the other end.
He's faring as well internally as he is externally, which is not great. I mean, he's in a really difficult position. No matter what the company says, half the nation is going to be mad at it. He's tried to, at this point, choose the course that he thinks is best for his employees. Many of his workers support, these issues on gay rights and that. And so he's chosen that course, but this will sort of continually put him in the crosshairs of conservatives who want to make this a big issue, not just this year, but for a long time.
Meantime, Disney earnings are also coming up, and the last report was also not great. And on the heels of what we saw from Netflix, the first subscriber loss in a decade, what are you expecting from Disney, Chris?
I mean, that'll be the ultimate judge of how well liked Chapek is what he delivers financially to investors. Right now we're not anticipating any huge surprises in terms of subscriber declines for Disney Plus like Netflix saw. All indications are that theme parks are doing quite well, including in Florida. People are still going, long lines everywhere. So they could still have another strong quarter.
Nathan, what's next? How do you expect this to ultimately play out?
We're going to have a lot to keep attention on for the next year. This measure that was signed today by DeSantis, it still gives the officials over a year to figure out what they're going to do. And as was mentioned before, it's possible that an agreement could be reached. But Disney's going to have to maneuver a very tricky situation. It's not just what Disney's going to do, though. A lot of people, I think, in Florida are really paying close attention to this. I've had friends in Orlando write me worried that their taxes are going to go up. So this is going to affect a lot of different people, and it has a political nature to it as well. And we saw how fast this all came up. It could all change maybe just as fast. So it's something we're all going to be watching.